The Daily Mail says that energy prices are going to go back up again, home energy, this winter. And this time, I'm guessing at the moment, the government aren't going to pay a third of our bill, which happened last year. And so it looks as if it's going to be pretty grim again, maybe even worse in reality. So, I don't know, but maybe the government will pay us a third or whatever again, I don't know. But it's just tragic how this situation's happened. You know, somewhere like Scotland, that we've got so much green energy. I think we're producing nearly 100% of our electricity in green energy, but it doesn't work out that way because it goes to wholesale and then it gets mixed in with a gas price and all this. I don't know. It's gas prices that are keeping everything high, because the idea was that they built this sort of market based around gas prices because they were always the lowest. But that's flipped now, and it's gas that's the highest. And I don't know. I looked at Dale Vince on these things. That's that guy who owns Ecotricity, I think it is. He was basically a sort of hippie guy, stayed in caravans and that, and he originally got into the eco stuff because he was trying to generate electricity for his camper van or whatever, or his sort of thing he was living in at the time. From that, he ended up building up to Ecotricity. I'm a big admirer of him, even though he's involved in all that Stop the Oil stuff, although he says he's not going to fund that anymore. I mean, I follow his Twitter, or X if you want to call it. I call it Twitter, alright? Yeah, and he's saying that, because people don't understand that the energy retailers, by law, they're only allowed to make 1.5% profit. So it's not them that are making the big money, the ones that are actually selling you, the consumers, the home consumers. It's the ones generating it. And I don't know about the distributors as well, but they're making billions and billions and billions. And that even includes green companies. I guess it includes Ecotricity, I don't know, because they're generating it as well as being a retailer. But the ones that just retailing it, you know, they're hardly making anything. For a while they used to make maybe 10% or something. But then Theresa May changed that, they weren't allowed to. But in my opinion, she hit the wrong end of the market, really, because Dale Vince says that they should do the same for the generators and distributors. You know, they should be limited to 1.5% max. I don't know what sort of profit they're making at the moment, but it's all to do with this sort of gas price, which our electricity is based on as well. It's stupid. We've got a sort of European gas price or something, but that's sort of went way up because of the Ukraine war and before that, actually, because it means that fossil fuels in charge of the thing, and that means the countries that generate it. You know, it doesn't matter if you're like in Scotland, we're generating so much green electricity, because it's got to go in the wholesale market, and there it goes at that set price for gas or whatever. So it's all really daft, you know. So, yeah. So Dale Vince, follow him for electricity and gas. I know he's one of Labour's biggest funders and that, but I don't know what. I don't mind anyway. I would listen to anybody who I think's wise on, well, that matter anyway, energy matter, you know. And to me, he makes sense. I've seen him in GB News and that as well, and he makes total sense to me. I know I think he's on Talk TV News quite a lot. And of course they don't listen to him when he's talking, because I find that there's lots of people like that. The Patriotic Millionaires are the best ones to listen to about how the rich hold on to their money and that. I mean, I'm not against rich people being rich, but they seem to be mean as well, like the way they go on about tax and that. They probably don't even notice, you know, even if they were in a 40% bracket or 60% bracket or whatever, it probably wouldn't even make any dent in their lifestyle. So Patriotic Millionaires is a good way of finding out. Listen, they've got an X account or Twitter account if you want to think that. They've got a UK branch and a US branch. They're quite new because it's only last 2 or 3 years. It was in the US, I think it started, and I think Abigail Disney's she's one of them. But the guy who did co-found it in the US, he was before a sort of US Senate committee last week and all that, and it was just interesting hearing what he had to say, although I've forgotten basically. But I'll try and remember. He was just saying that the services that the poor use, he makes money on in dividends and doesn't pay tax on it and stuff like that. Because he's get roundabout ways, although he probably does. Because I know that Owen Jones is like that. The Owen Jones, the lefty. He tells his accountant, make sure that I'm not dodgy, I'm not tax efficient in any way, that's how they would call it. So he's saying the opposite of what a rich person usually says to an accountant. Doesn't want any sort of thing that's legal but dodgy. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So that is interesting. That. But anyway, talking about energy again, yeah, they're saying it's going to go back up. And someone said the last time, instead of giving us money last time, they should have just given us all solar panels. Because I'm a big fan of solar panels. It's frustrating that I don't feel like I can do anything about it at the moment. But if you can't do anything from the top up, which would be like getting your house solar panelled, then do it from the top down. Do it from the bottom up, and that's trying things like Jackery or small solar panels. Even just to charge your phone and stuff like that. I think that's the way we should be going. I don't know about. I'm not a fan of those sort of, what do they call these things? Source heaters, or they're either underground outside, or nowadays they're just above ground in the air heaters. What do they call them again? But I don't really like to look at them because for a start they need electricity to function. So, and from what I saw, well, about a year or two ago, it was still matching the same price that people are paying for electricity to get from the supplier or whatever, and that's heating, and and if you're with Ecotricity, all your things green, all your electricity, but then you could be Ecotricity and use your air thingy, but it depends whether you're bothered about green and economy. To me, solar makes the most sense. I'm sure they're going to get better and better. I think at the moment they're around about 22% efficient. And probably wind power, because I've sort of got different ones now that it's not a big windmill anymore. It's sort of things that go round. There's even some that just move about like a buoy in the ocean. But don't ask me about it. But definitely solar for houses at the moment, especially from the bottom up. To try and charge your phone and stuff like that. But I just wanted to warn you about. It looks like electricity and gas going to be really high again, maybe even higher than last year in Britain. I don't know about other countries. America seems to have avoided it because they've got so much shale fracking. Is that what they call it again? Fracking. Yeah. To think that America went from being really pretty dependent on Saudi Arabia and that to now being totally independent for energy, and they can even sell it to Britain and stuff like that by liquefied fuel thingy, So I don't know how to feel about, whether we should still use fossil fuel in it. I'm not bothered one way or the other. I would rather we were totally green, but if it doesn't make sense at the moment, then fair enough. I would favour of drilling for oil and stuff, if we need it. I'm surprised we aren't further on, I'm surprised more people haven't got electric cars and that, although I'm starting to see quite a few about. But I know they're very expensive though, although Tesla have just said that they're going to do they're going to do one that's half price from what their current prices are. But I mean, because the current prices is like buying a Rolls Royce or something. Maybe not as bad as that, but not far off. I mean, I don't know what was a Tesla 40, 50,000 or maybe even more. I mean, the basic cars we're looking at for most of us is like 10 or 20,000, you know. I think a lot of people who could have solar in their houses, you know, should take the thingy. Don't know if IKEA's still doing them. For a while they did, but it doesn't look like they do anymore. But yeah, if you've got the money, you know, and there's grants and all that, I think. Well, anyway, that's all I've got to say about that at the moment. So I say, check out Dale Vince on Twitter and Patriotic Millionaires, US and UK, and it might be interesting.